can accept the loss, I'm hard-headed. There's a little bit of madness to my method. Many falling off that fine line that I'm treading. I risk anything to be great, and I'm not letting nobody rob me of my victory. Number one, that's what I'm meant to be. When by any means, only thing that makes sense.
Here we go. It is episode 20 of the Red, White, and Crew podcast, and it's a special one as we've made it. We've made it to El Final, and we got a special one. We got a finalissima version of the final, first time ever. We're excited about that. We're going to dive into that shortly as we'll be discussing Sunday's World Cup final. But before we do, we want to tell you guys about our proud partners at GoalGetter. This episode is brought to you by GoalGetter, a recruiting education platform built to help female soccer student athletes and their families navigate the path to college soccer. The process can feel overwhelming, especially when families don't fully understand the recruiting landscape. GoalGetter provides the education, tools, and guidance families need to navigate the recruiting landscape and make informed decisions. To get more information, you can find them on socials both on Instagram and X at GoalGetter, that's GOLGETR Soccer, at GoalGetter Soccer, and as well as on their website, goalgetter.com, that's GOLGETR. Again, that's goalgetter.com. Boys, what's going on? It's episode 20. Can you imagine? We've now cranked out 20 of these, man. Pretty crazy.
Been fun.
It has been a long, strange journey, my friends.
You guys get all
Played out
shiny.
exactly the way I thought it would play out.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it just dawned on me. I was prepping this episode, and I was like, damn, episode 20. It's like, I can't believe that. It's just been plugging away. So as we enter the last days of the festival of football that is the World Cup, the 2026 World Cup, and hopefully we can finish it out on a strong note. As all indications go, it's been an exceptional, arguably the best ever. Could it be capped off by a tremendous final? That's what we're hoping for. Fingers crossed. That's what we're here to discuss today. But really quick, we're going to go around just to see how everyone's doing. Wes, we'll start with you. What's new, buddy?
Oh, nothing. Just ready for this MLS back campaign. You know, we're here, we're back, we're ready. It's our turn to take over, and then we pop out a 0-0 draw last night. Although that Portland-Seattle game last night was kind of crazy. 4-1 was not something I expected Portland to do.
I saw that. 4-1, right?
Yeah.
4-1.
If you would have bet on that, you would have made a lot of money because Portland was very underwhelming odds.
How much money? I'm curious.
I think it was like a 5.5 multiplier. So on Polymarket, so you bet $10, you're going to win 55, which is a pretty good return.
Yeah. Mercenary FC, we all saw you in HEB in the back of a milk carton, so it's glad to have you back.
It is good to be back. I'm glad I was able to escape my captors at SMU. A whole week of soccer with, I believe it was almost 800 kids over the course of a week. First camp was like 388 kids. Second camp was 394, their biggest camp ever. So Lots of great kids, lots of great soccer we got to see. And on the final night of camp, I did make my return to the field in an 8-minute cameo in the coaches versus campers all-star game. So there is proof that I can still go out there and play just a little bit.
Yeah, we got the word. We heard the AED was on standby, and we're glad to have you here. Really appreciate it.
The AED was on standby. The Achilles tendon people were on standby. There is some video proof that I actually made a 70-yard run.
Oh my God!
And I did watch about 7 kids run right by me as I was trying to get up the field, and I realized I am a tad bit slow.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's to be expected. It comes. You've done your time. That's what I tell my players all the time. So, Rafa, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Just trying to stay dry from all the flooding and the tornadoes here in San Antonio.
Oh, it was one tornado. I mean, was there more than one? I saw one.
No, there was like the one that hit 1604 the rim, and then there was one the day before that.
Yeah, I saw that one. So crazy. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it got awfully close to where I'm at, but nevertheless, we're good. Water has gone back, has gone down, so glad. But definitely our hearts go out to families across Texas Hill Country who have definitely been impacted. Hope you guys can recover. It's been tough back-to-back summers in this region, in this area, so hearts go out to those families for sure. Elias, you come to us from parts unknown. What's up, buddy? What's going on?
Yeah, coming to get one last little vacation in. We've kind of turned it into a yearly tradition where wherever coaching school's at, we come down a couple days early. And last year it was in San Antonio, so we stopped in New Braunfels and flowed the river. This year it's in Houston, so here down in Galveston, enjoy a couple days on the beach. Stop and enjoy one last little hoorah before our season, our preseason kicks up. So
Right. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts, coaching school, man? What are you looking forward to? You're looking through the schedule, speakers, or what's kind of. I like to ask that because I know we'll have some high school soccer coaches, Texas high school soccer coaches on here listening, and not enough of them go because they think they shouldn't go, they don't have to go, or Tasco is enough. What are you looking forward to?
yeah, Cody Moles, he does a really good job out in Salina. He's got a session. I believe he's got the first session on Sunday, 10 a.m. I think he's talking about finishing in and around the box. He's a positional play guy, kind of similar to myself. So I'm interested to see what his final third kind of thoughts are. And I think that's the big one I'm looking forward to. There's Caleb Blakely from A&M Consolidated, the coach from Smithson Valley. So lots of really good coaches, I always tell people if you can pick up one or two things there, then it was a successful trip. And then just gain a network, with fellow soccer coaches. So a couple of, I know the Allen coach is going down, the Dripping Spring coach is going. So get to kind of, bond and build some camaraderie with colleagues. So.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to listen to Alexi Upton at Royce City, see what he's got going on at THSCA.
Yeah.
Should be a great lecture.
Are you going this year, Brian?
No, not at all.
I was about to say, are you going? Yeah, it's like you hadn't mentioned that. So
No. I will be in the Big Bend. So starting Monday.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah. I know it's.
I just wanted to get a rise out of Aaron, out of A-Rod.
I know it's all the way in Houston for you, Brian. So I know that's a long trip.
It's a long trip getting all the way over to the wherever it's at this year, the George R. Brown this year or wherever it's. I don't even know.
It's in the same spot. Same spot.
Well.
Yeah. Good deal. Hey, Elias, how's the weather down there right now?
It's 91 and sunny.
Is it really?
It's a beautiful day in Houston.
Yeah. It was as we got into Houston or right outside of Houston, it was sprinkling a little bit in some pockets. But yeah, we're down here looking at the beach. It's 91 and sunny with the yellow flag on the water. So
yeah, there you go. Sweet. Good deal. So yeah, man, Galveston's near and dear to my heart. It's where my wife and I got married. So don't tell Charles Barkley that. But yeah, it's where we got married. But yeah, man, excited. So hey, we're here. The final. We're here to discuss that. But the real reason why we're here, what everybody really wants to talk about, is the third place match between England and. I'm kidding. But we are going to talk briefly thoughts on what has set up. We did the preview for our first time, or our live watch along for the first time, our final between France and Spain. But very quick recap, thoughts on, we've had time to digest England and Argentina a little bit. Argentina obviously emerges victorious. They're in the final versus Spain. But thoughts on that one because I know we tore it apart a good bit on our chat. But being a couple of days away from it now, anything different, anything new that's come up, stuff on social, comments, anything grab your attention?
I thought the changes from Argentina were spot on. I thought that Scaloni did a really good job. Even the way that he set his team up, if you were looking at how they had been playing and everyone was talking about how vulnerable they were in the back, it's because they were asking their outside backs to provide width. So they were really struggling in transition. He brought on Simeone, who, even though he didn't have the best of game, I thought that the role that he did allowed them to be a little bit more solid in the back because he was the one providing width. And then once he brought on DePaul, once he brought on Nico Gonzalez, I thought that really gave him some width, gave him some ability to attack in the box, and it allowed, especially DePaul coming in, that allowed Messi to move out to the right-hand side.
Right.
Because before he was kind of crowding out Simeone there on the right. and then they were also using Alvarez on the left. So I thought Scaloni got his changes spot on, and obviously Tuchel I think was the opposite. And so it was a great, also just great kind of picture of what fighting spirit can really do.
Yeah, Simeone. Simeone started that match, didn't he?
Did
He got the start, right? Yeah.
first minutes of the tournament, I believe, and it was a start in the semifinals.
Yeah, he hadn't played up until this point.
Yeah, I thought the the key move was obviously in that second half was Scaloni pushing Messi out wide right. That was the game changer, and Tuchel just never. Obviously, he saw it, but he felt his five in the back were going to be good enough. Which it's like, I don't know what you're doing, man. Giving him that much space, giving him that much time, right foot or no right foot doesn't matter. So pretty crazy stuff, man.
I don't think Tuchel listened to Winston Churchill, because you're not supposed to surrender if you're English, and he basically surrendered by just dropping so deep, and that's what happens.
Yeah. I got to thinking about it too. It's like, man, would you rather be on the precipice like that and lose it like that when you're that close, to a final? Would you rather, well, just in general, would you rather lose like that, or even the way I came back to the U.S. game, right? The U.S. getting embarrassed versus Belgium. Or would you rather lose like that, how England did, or how the U.S. did? I kept going back and forth on that, because
it depends on who you are.
That just felt so gutted. You could see it in the players. You know what I mean? And
I'll take 2 in the head right from the start. All right, instead of the slow, painful death.
And Tuchel has just not helped himself. Just in terms of you can't shit on your players when they emerge victorious in a tough, grind out, gritty victory, and then feel absolutely good and no regrets, when your decisions were what cost your team the game.
He's even come out and said he said that he would do everything exactly the same again. He said it's in the English DNA. He said that those were his exact words. We lost because we have to change the English DNA, and we get in those moments and we hope not to lose instead of expecting to win.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I think he's going to have a hard time continuing in that role, because I think that these players are not going to be very bought into what he's telling them.
Yeah. If I would have been the officials at the FA, I would have held off on kind of just doubling down in terms of my 2028 support for him, right? At least see out this third place match, see how the team responds, see how they respond to him. But I know I did see the report, right, where I guess it was in his clause where as long as he made the quarterfinal, then I guess they couldn't trigger a release, essentially a firing, not without cause at least. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, they said as long as he made the quarterfinal, and it wasn't. But I think there was a Mexico clause in there too, is what I saw. Like if you lost to Mexico in the round of 16, then they would have been fine. But it was
Yeah, that part I did not see. I just saw the.
Why would they give him the out on that one?
I think just because that's
the conditions.
Playing, in the conditions. You're playing in the Azteca. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, that game was one of the games of the tournament.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that comes down to agents and lawyers doing their job, right? Because I mean, that's kind of going in the wrong direction if you're England, especially when you have that amount of quality, right? That amount of talent, or what you should have, right? So, So, Wes, your thoughts on that? A few days to digest it. Anything else?
I don't know. I keep going back and seeing videos of the slap that Jude Bellingham had on the back of Barco. I did see another video today, and I had not seen it up until this point, where when they scored, I think it was the first goal. Barco ran out into the middle of the field and kind of passed all the English players yelling at them, which is kind of crazy to me because we're getting further and further away from where you can't enter the field as a substitute. Like, I get it. If we're going to celebrate and if you come onto the field a little bit in the corner, like, I'm okay with those things. But when you're on the bench and you run all the way to the middle of the field, I think you might deserve to get slapped at the end of a game.
Yeah, get slapped with a red card. Let's be honest. I'll be real, right? I think that's the kind of stuff officials saw that. How do you not do anything about that?
Yeah, I don't understand how you let it go.
And when it just happens to be, again, Argentina, here we go, right back to what what has been one of the key topics in the tournament, right? Is like nothing happens. So yeah,
are you claiming there are referee improprieties with the Argentinian team? Because I
there's
have not
video
seen any
footage.
of
There's
those this
video
entire
footage.
tournament.
Hey, no, it's not a claim. It's not speculation. It's just something that's that clear. How do you not, how do you not just give at a minimum a yellow? Tell the dude to sit down. Period. Right? It's not a speculation.
Yeah.
Right. It just gets heightened. It just gets heightened.
Maybe someone left their shin guard on the field. Maybe he was going to do that. Maybe he was being a good teammate. You never
all right,
know.
get this guy out of here. Get this guy out of here. Where's the Lexi Upton when you need him? So, all right. So, poor Alexi. Alexi, shout out to you, buddy. I know. Elias, sorry, you had something, buddy?
Yeah, I mean that it should have definitely been a yellow. I didn't see him going out there in the middle. I need to go find that video. But if he did do that, that needs to be a yellow card, 100%.
Yeah, I just saw it maybe an hour ago. I don't know how long it's been out.
12
it was out there. It's been out there.
Yeah, I just saw it.
I think he got slapped because as he was going out there to celebrate at the end of the game, he turned and said something to Jude in Spanish, forgetting that I don't know how to understand that he plays for Real, and he understood. But yeah. I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, there were little things that maybe you could nitpick with the referee in that one, but that game was won and lost on the field, and it was won and lost by the coaches and I mean the English laid down, and they can sit there and say what are you doing to Argentina, but and Tuchel also had a point where he said they were dropping deeper. And he was trying to help his team out by bringing on an extra center back to maybe help them kind of clean it up. And that is a mentality thing. I mean, do you call that out in public? Absolutely not. But you could see it. They scored the goal, and then they shrunk up. And they said, why is Harry Kane sitting at the top of your box? Why are you completing 2 passes in 16 minutes? The referees didn't do that to you. You could, nobody told you not to complete only complete 2 passes. So,
right.
I mean,
and for being such a master tactician,
yeah,
to see him do that, anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes out, and you're going off of the body of work or the proof that, hey, we did it against Mexico in the Azteca, we can do it again. You're not going to get away with that versus Argentina, with the quality of Argentina, and then you see who they have on the field, right? Particularly with Messi, right? And then that got reinforced, as you mentioned earlier, by Scaloni's subs, right?
Yeah, so, but I think that goes back to what Tuchel said. He saw his players already retreating as soon as they got the goal. That's the English DNA to sit back and try to sit on that lead. And when he saw that, how many times have we seen our players do stuff that we don't tell them to do, but they do it out of habit? And now we have to try to, like he said, clean it up. Maybe we need to put another center back in there. Maybe we need to move the center back from the left to the right. I think what really hurt them in that sense was when Reece James went off, because I think Reece James, for all of his criticisms for his injuries and everything, I don't think there is a player on the field defensively that is as good as Reece James is in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's so good that his average position was behind Pickford.
Exactly.
That's how good defensively he is.
Yeah,
I agree.
Hey, did Argentina score while he was on the field?
He did not. You're right.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, and then, but there was just so many issues. You saw the goal, right? Who was it? Enzo, right? Scored the first one?
Yeah, Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah. You saw that one building, right? Because he had from that area, and by the way, Wes, where did that first goal come from him? What zone? I'm just curious.
Zone 14, right?
I'm curious, yeah. But he was loading up on that. He was dialing it in. He had already taken, 4 in that range, either on the right side or left side of the goal. So it was just a matter of time, and he caught Pickford perfect, right? So, I mean, and it was a great shot. It was a great shot, too.
Well,
so
I think he hit the post twice before, or at least once before.
There was a couple
he hit the post earlier.
He was zeroing in. He was getting closer and closer and closer.
And I don't understand why there was no pressure. I mean, we said it right when the ball got to him. I'm like, where's the pressure at? Why are they not stepping to him?
Right.
You can't.
How can you have that many guys in the box and then still give him that much space?
There was a video of Elliot Anderson, who's sitting at the top of the box, who for some reason runs out to the flank to be part of a triple team out on the winger, who then rolls it into the space where he should have been to defend the shot by Enzo.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a $130 million midfielder, though, by the way, guys, just letting y'all know.
And the thing is this, right? You talk about, I mean, Brian, you mentioned English DNA or seeing your guys retreating. It's only going to get further reinforced if you start taking out all your attack guys and start loading up on your defenders, right? And your coaching staff is there, right? You have to say, it's like, hey, all right, boss, what are we going to do if they tie this up? And now we're looking at an extra 30 minutes. So because not only that, if we end up playing this out to penalties, we've already seen the trend here of center backs missing and defenders missing penalties in shootouts left and right. So that just leaves you no options, right? They had zero counter capability once Argentina tied it up,
and you still have Saka and Rashford on the bench.
Correct.
That you haven't even brought into the game yet.
Saka should have stayed on the bench.
Was Saka unused in that game?
He wasn't used.
No,
he wasn't used.
Which is
Rashford,
one of their best players.
They brought on Tony and Rashford.
That was the Ivan Tony one was crazy to me that you bring him on.
Yeah. Saka. So the word was that Saka was something. He was nowhere near 100%. I don't know.
He had arsenalitis.
Yeah. So he was pretty banged up. So he never came on. He never featured.
That goes back, though, in my opinion, to the Pulisic conversation where we were talking about our leg would have to be falling off for you to say, I'm not going in this game.
Yep.
Like you're on the brink of making it to a final. And you're like, I'm not 100%. I don't care if I'm 50. I don't care if I'm 20. Like, I'm going to do something.
Yeah. And if I'm I don't know. So England supporters, right, across the board, right, they're well within their right. Coaches would know this too, right, that the whole reason why the thought process in going from Southgate to Tuchel was to take that next step. He was brought on to get them to that final, right? That's what he was brought here for. And instead he started his tactics went out the window, his process. I get it. You have to make a decision. I'll give him credit. He at least made a decision, but in the end, you saw it building. I think he made the theoretically the right one, but at the wrong time, way too early, which is shocking for someone his caliber.
Yeah, I think he should have waited 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But even, I don't know, hindsight's 2020, I mean, even before he makes those changes, I mean, Argentina is you could see the momentum switch. And even that goal, even for England, was kind of against the run of play in the second half. I thought the first half was very, very even. I mean, it seemed like you didn't really know which way it was going to go. And then they came out in the second half. And Argentina, I mean, I think they were hit on the counter is really how they got that goal scored on them. And so even that right there is telling you that even going into the second half with the starting lineup, they were already on the back foot a little bit. And I don't know, as a coach, it's really hard, even when you bring in players into that game state, it's hard to switch that mentality of a whole team.
Yeah.
It's hard to switch the feeling. And so, I mean, do you bring on all those defenders? Probably not. But if you bring on a winger, what's to say you aren't still defending your box? And now instead of defending with, 5 defenders, you're defending with, some wingers that aren't really great in the box either. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it is a lot on the players. And with as good of players as they have, you have Harry Kane. Probably if they had won that game, he wins the Ballon d'Or. You have Jude Bellingham, the face of that English team. Elliot Anderson's $130 million signing.
Hey, I thought Anderson up until the collapse, had a solid game in the middle, especially in neutralizing Messi a lot.
Yes. A lot. And then you have Gordon, $70 million signing. You have Rice, $80 million or however much Arsenal spent on him. Mark Gahey, who, City spent tons of money on. So you have all these players that in those moments, they are supposed to be able to take control of that game, and they weren't. And then now we're looking at the coach to go and solve it. Whereas, I don't think that Scaloni told Messi to go out to the right. I think he just went out there. He said, I'm not getting the ball here. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to take the ball. And those guys, I mean, and that is a difference in mentality. And I don't know what the solution is there.
Yeah. England just looked like they didn't know how to handle how to make the adjustment to Messi all of a sudden having the ball multiple times on the on the right wing. So because you could see that building, you knew the service was coming if they weren't going to let him in the box. Just like you saw Enzo Hernandez's goal building up, you saw that coming, right? The space. It was inevitable. But you have to do the analysis part. This is what coaching staffs are here for, are there for, right? With your head coach, is you got to be telling Tuchel was like, hey, we know we're going to. Why are we going to retreat, dive super deep, get in all, make the substitutions we're going to do, and go into a mega low block this early when Argentina is. The data going into that match was what they had scored with 2 goals before the 79th minute mark in the knockout stage and 7 goals going past the 79th minute mark. So to do that basically pretty much out of the water break, just, I don't know, pre-water break basically, didn't make sense, man. It just did not make sense. So, and to ask your guys to defend that, I mean, and that second goal came in with Dan Burns that just subbed in too, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, 5'9" center forward heads the ball in the box. 6'7".
I know.
Setback. I mean, that's unacceptable right there as well.
And they also caught Dan Burns way out of position. He was on the right post. Meanwhile, Martinez's header is coming just inside of the left post.
Yeah.
So
this would have never happened with Big Sam as manager. I'm just letting y'all guys know.
So that does it so obviously Argentina advances, wins 2-1 to advance to the final, to their second consecutive final, as they attempt to win their fourth World Cup title, and we'll dive into that shortly. But really quick, guys.
Hold on, Hector. Before we move on away from this, I know it's a talking point that we've been talking about, and the referees not going back and looking at things with VAR, but did anyone else think that was a foul on Messi, on Spence, stepping on his foot?
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
The fact that we didn't even go back and look at it again was just another example. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for Argentina winning the game. I did not want to see England in a final, but I think the inconsistencies that we've been having with this is what we're picking out that VAR is going to use against this team, but not against this team.
Right.
It's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow because you want soccer to be genuine. You want it to be neutral where everybody's on the same fair playing ground, but it just doesn't seem like we have this whole.
I went back to that video, right? And I wonder if it gets called, if it gets nullified, if Spence now this is why players inevitably flop, right? Because if he stays down, the ref kills the play pretty much right then and there. Instead, if you notice what he did, he basically put his foot out, his leg out, and was hopping, right? Was trying to basically walk it off, and then Messi plays the pass to Enzo for the shot. So, but it was the same reason why. What was it? Was it earlier in the game when I forgot who it was that somebody from England got clocked in the back of the head when they were on their knees, and then Jude Bellingham also. I forgot who it was that he hit in the back of the head as well in the first half. So. And I'm not talking about the slap after the game either. I'm talking about
No. I know which one you were talking about.
Yeah.
I just sent y'all a video of a close up. It doesn't look like there's any contact there. It looks like he pulls that right foot up as he's going by.
I don't know.
Thanks for the video, Uncle Gianni.
Yeah, there's also a picture going out that's been edited where it shows Messi stomping on him. That's been AI edited. It's just, and unfortunately that is where this has gone, right?
Right.
Yeah, everything, but I don't know. The video it looks like as that ball is coming in and he sticks that foot out, he pulls his right foot up and over it. But
I didn't know what the referee's position was in relation to that call, but it was basically pretty much right in close proximity to the linesman, to the AR there, but no call. So, but in the end, it comes back to those are all supporting factors maybe that you can come back to. But Elias is right. It just the decisions made down the stretch in the last 30 minutes by England, both players and coaches collectively, just bad, man. Bad.
Could you imagine had you gone back to VAR and called that foul and called that goal back? You'd have had a riot in that stadium.
Yeah. But it's still one, right? If you go back and call it back, it's 1-1.
It's 1-1 if you call it back. Yeah.
It's 1-1, and I don't know that really galvanized at that point. Really galvanizes.
No, I think that was the
England.
first goal.
No, it was the second one.
one.
It was the second one. Yeah.
Was it the second one? I thought it was the first. I thought it was the first where he laid off the assist to Enzo.
That was off the corner because that's where they were looking at whether or not Messi got back onside or not, which there was no really argument. They thought he got back on. But it was the second goal because as soon as Spence jumped up and was kind of hobbling a little bit, Messi turned around and went right at him.
Yeah. I think he from what it looks like he hyperextended his knee when he slid in.
Yeah. I thought it was the first one, so mixing it up there. But yeah, I did see the video, so but yeah, that does it. England or anything else, Wes, or was that it?
No, that's it for me.
Good deal. All right, so the highly anticipated great matchup of the battle in the Pop-Tarts Bowl between England and France. I mean, there in a weird way, there is a lot of incentive for these two teams to play for in terms of either, I don't know, additional bonuses or Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, or Mbappe. Individual accolades, which I don't know, maybe that garners some sort of effort from teammates to try to push. I mean, this one it's a weird one. I get it, but nobody kind of really wants to play it, but yet there's lots of incentive for at least individual pieces for people to want to show up for this. What are your thoughts on this one, Elias?
Yeah, I mean, I think for France, it's a chance to end Deschamps' tenure on maybe a positive note. It seems like right now there's some discontentment in that camp. I know Mbappe came out, kind of dragged Deschamps' tactics after the Spain game. There was talk about how the players wanted to be able to go out in Miami, and Deschamps said, no, you can't go out. And so I saw that. Yeah. So it's a chance for maybe to get some good vibes going in France. For England, it is a chance to kind of same thing. You kind of want to. Yes, it's the Pop-Tarts Bowl. It is a chance though to kind of end this World Cup on a positive note. Maybe give something positive to look forward to. I mean, either way, if England beats France, that's a big win for England. Whether it's third place or whatever. If France beats England, that's a big win for France. So. But it'll be interesting to see how many rotations are. I think people are expecting France to rotate a lot. I think you would expect these coaches from a human side of it, if you're not really playing for anything and you've kept these players away from their families for 7 weeks, 8 weeks, to give some of those fringe players minutes. So it's going to be, and then, nobody wants to get hurt with club season coming right back around. A lot of these players are probably sitting on big moves that are waiting to be announced after the World Cup. If you're Olise and you really are trying to get out of Bayern Munich and you go and get hurt in this game, you just completely change the trajectory of your career. So, and I'm sure there are more players in his shoes than just him, and so I think that will play a role as well. You're muted, Hector.
There we go. Sorry, double tapped on the mute button there. Now, I was kind of curious about the club politics that might come into play into this one, right? About, hey, we're about to start our club season. Don't bang up, don't bang up our guy. Play some of the guys that have gotten less playing time. So it'll be interesting. For France, I would love to finally see N'Golo Kante after who hasn't played at all 1 second, right? And who would have probably somewhere in there made a big difference. But yeah, that's just me. I'm a big Kante guy. So, Brian, thoughts on the Pop-Tart Bowl?
I mean, I think FIFA missed out on having this game played in Miami instead of Tampa because they could have actually played it at the Pop-Tart Bowl, and we could have had the Pop-Tarts all running around the stadium. It would have been a great time for everybody. But, like Eliel said, this is just a third-place game, and, I think this is an opportunity for the English guys to send off Tuchel on a good note because I can't see him staying after all the criticism that he's taken and what he's going to continue to take. No matter what his contract says. I think you're going to see some players we haven't seen. I think you're going to see Conte. I think you're going to see Kobe Manu for England. You're going to see players that are going to get out there. And I think in that sense, you may see a kind of an exciting game. You might see some players that are going to step up and say, hey, look, I didn't play much in the World Cup, so let me show you what I can do. Or let me show you what what my manager missed out by not having me play in the semifinals or the quarterfinals. And you may have some players that just really just step up and shine. And I mean, I could see this one being a high scoring, a 4-3, 4-4 kind of game.
Wes?
Yeah, no, I think Mbappe, Kane, Bellingham, they're still on the golden boot. I mean, all of them are kind of right there. And with Messi not scoring the last couple games too, it gives them a chance to maybe get themselves a lead going into that last game. You got to think as a player that's something you'd want to even take home, even if you're not going to be taking home the final trophy. It's still something to play for. So I would say if you're looking at the two teams, and we are talking about both teams going to rotate, I would say that France would have kind of the upper hand a little bit with who they have on their bench and their possibilities that they could bring in. We've talked about this before. They bring on their second team, and they're probably the second or third best team in the tournament still. So.
Who has more? Who do you guys feel has more? It's so weird, right? But who do you feel going into this, coming out of everything factoring in, coming out of the semifinal, and just the status one manager under heavy, a lot of heat, and the other one on their way out. When you factor in all the components around it, who do you feel comes into this game feeling like they have a little bit more to play for?
I mean, I feel like England has more to play for their fans to give them something other than what they just experienced. So they've got to have a bad taste in their mouth about how the last 25 minutes of that game went. So whereas France has been there, they've already won it. They won it. Obviously they want to win it again. It's not like they're like, we didn't win. It's no big deal. But I just see this meaning more for England than it does France.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think if you look at the majority of this roster for France, Mbappe's won a World Cup. He's been to another final. Kante's won a World Cup. He's been to another final. I mean, these guys, there's a lot of guys. Deschamps, he went to the quarterfinal, then he won it, then he went to the final, and then he went to the semifinal. There's a lot of these French players that I think when they retire, the narrative around them is that they're going to be winners. When Mbappe retires, whether he wins another World Cup or not, he's going to go down as one of the best World Cup players of all time. Yeah. And I don't think that that's the same for these English players. And so I do think that they have more to play for. Even Deschamps, one of only 3 people to win it as both a player and a manager. So he is a France legend, regardless of what happened in this one. And so I agree with Wes. I think England is the one that has more to play for here.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything. I mean, England's got a lot to play for. Their players. I mean, I think France came into this with a win or bust attitude, and I think now that they're not going to win, there's just that general, okay, we didn't win. Oh well. Mm-hmm. I think England comes in with that national pride. They want to win. They want to win as much as they can. Just a win over France is big for England. A win over England for France is, well, we knew we were better than them anyway, so that doesn't prove anything. Now we're just going home third place instead of first place.
Yeah. I do kind of get the vibes that this match will probably be like an NBA All-Star game, right? Wide open, limited defense kind of thing. So it could be a shootout, right? So here's a thought. You have, let's say it's some sort of shootout. You're the managers, right? Respective managers. Mbappe, Jude, and Harry are all sitting on 2 goals apiece at like the 70-minute mark. What do you do?
I think water break. You talk to those guys, I think, and you just ask them.
This is post water. Like you're coming out of the water break. What are your substitution patterns? What do you do?
Well, if you're the English, you're already up 4-2 at that point, so you just go ahead and bunker in and just kind of just play for the last, play in the fourth quarter.
I'd probably bring on a second keeper, to be honest.
Well, don't you think? Wouldn't they bunker in after the first goal, according to you, Brian? What you were saying?
Right? Well, I mean, it depends on maybe when they go up 3-2 and then they catch them on the counter. But maybe Mbappe scores 2 goals in the first 10 minutes, and then Harry Kane's got to work his way back to get up on the points. So, I mean, who knows? Yeah. I mean, we don't know how much this match has been fixed by FIFA or by the bettors. We don't know. We'll find out tomorrow.
Hey, Wes, what's the line on this, by the way? I'm curious.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, let me look.
It's such a kind of ambiguous.
It's got to be more about the betting the props in this one. France 66% to England's 34%. So
Interesting.
you're going to get, a $20 bet to win $56 for England to win.
Gotcha.
You're not winning as much if France wins this game, but I bet you'll get good odds on the player props on this one.
Yeah, the lineups. I'll be curious just from the start. We'll probably have a good idea once we see the starting lineups for this one. So, but that begs the question, right? Going forward, like, should FIFA continue the third place match? Not will they, but should.
It every year since, what is it? 54?
I don't know. I don't know when it actually started, to be honest.
So it started in 1934. I guess it took a break for World War II. Went 34, 38, 54, 58, 62. Every single edition since.
So other than the inception, the inaugural, they've had it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And these scores they're not as crazy as you would think. Croatia 2, Morocco 1, and 22, and 18, Belgium 2, England 0, and 14, Netherlands 3, Brazil 0. In 2010, Germany 3, Uruguay 2. 2006, Germany 3, Portugal 1. 2002, Turkey 3, South Korea 2. So I mean, they're still, I think, kind of evenly contested. Now I would be curious to see how much these teams have rotated, because I'm sure that's kind of something that these managers are also looking at as kind of historical precedent, right? Like, I mean, are you going to get killed in the media for throwing out your B team and getting beat 3-0? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think, and I thought the same thing, right? Would they play for Deschamps to see him out? And then now he pissed them all off because he wouldn't let them out on the town. So they're going to do a code red on Deschamps maybe the night before or something. And I don't know. You could see, I think the French, when they play free, they're an animal. They're monsters. But if they come in here just kind of, we don't already want to be here, and just like against Spain, right, didn't look right from the start. If that lingers, it could be a long day for France. It really could.
Yeah. And actually, the betting odds on that one, if you bet, let's just say you bet $10 for England to win by over 1.5 goals, that pays out $90. I mean, that's a good payout.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, but that does it for the third place match, which is slated for Saturday. Somebody check me on that time again. What time was it? 5 p.m.
I thought
Eastern?
it was 4.
Was it 4? 4 Central, 5 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 Central.
4 Central, yeah. Saturday.
The Notre Dame coach was not effective in getting them to not play the game. He tried his best.
Did a horrible job. So,
yeah.
Third place match, a.k.a. the Pop-Tart Bowl, as we're calling it, live from Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Stadium, if you're FIFA. So, but that is going to do it for that as we transition over to the real reason why we are here, El Final, right? The Finalissima, right? As we get, for the first time ever in a World Cup final, we get the reigning European champions versus the reigning South American champions in Copa America in Spain versus Argentina. This one everything tells us this should be an absolute barn burner, right? On the surface, thoughts before we kind of start diving into the tactics and everything. What are your impressions in terms of current form as these two teams come in, how they've been building into the tournament, and then their most recent performance in the semifinal? Brian, we'll start with you, or whoever.
I think you have two teams that are thriving on the strength of the team. And so that's going to make it interesting because obviously Argentina has Messi, right? I mean, we know what he means, but even if you take Messi out of it, it's really been that they just seem to really play for each other. And same thing for Spain. I mean, you listen to De La Fuente, all he's talking about is the strength of the group, how tight they are as a family, how they've been together since, 19, 20 years old. And it's the same thing with Argentina, Scaloni was the youth team manager. He knows these players inside and out. He's been with them for a long time. Two very similar squads. They both want the ball. They both thrive with technical players. And so it's I think as a neutral, it's one of the best matchups that we could have. As a Barcelona fan, I can watch this final in peace because it really doesn't matter who wins for me.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about it.
Yeah, there was no need to mention your fandom on that, by the way. So, you can keep that one to yourself. Brian.
I think what Elio said about these two teams. These are two teams that play for each other, and I think we can sit there and say that Argentina has the superstars. In Spain, yes, it's everyone's got the hype on Lamine Yamal, but he has not been the guy to do the damage for Spain. That defense has been stout. That defense has been tough. The midfield has been strong. They've moved the ball well. It's not just been one person to win matches for Spain. It has been a full team effort. I think like what they said on Tuesday. You don't lose when you have the ball. You can't lose, and Spain doesn't. And when they get the ball, they don't give it up very often. So the question is, can Argentina? Can they weather that kind of storm? Can they sit in and defend when they don't have the ball? Because these are two teams that like to have the ball. So, it's going to be real interesting. It's going to be a real cagey affair, and I'm excited to see it. I can't stand Barcelona, so I really don't care who wins it. I just want to see it get match.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Sorry. Just messing with your lip. Had to mess with my guy.
It's okay. I'm winning right now, so I'll take it.
Hey, enjoy it. It's gonna change soon. It's gonna change soon.
I'm sure it will.
I'll send you the Mourinho clips on YouTube with Real. So, yeah. I'm sorry, Brian. Did you have more, brother?
No, I'm good.
No, you're good. So I will say this. There's something I did want to mention. And correct me. I'm trying to remember who he. So I feel like, because as we all know, you always have to account for Yamal, obviously. Excuse me, but the real player. So much talent all over the place for Spain, but I feel like the real kind of revelation, the real 19-year-old revelation in this tournament for Spain has been Cubarsí, right? I did not know he's 19 years old, right? He plays like he's like 30 years old, and he's been back there forever at center back. He's been, just for me, just an eye opener, jaw dropping. And you're probably more familiar with him. You're more familiar with him there at Barca, Elias. What are your thoughts on him? Because for me, he's just been a revelation.
For me, it's nothing that. And maybe I'm a homer, but
at this level, I'm just surprised.
He already has over 100 caps for Barcelona. And you look at what Hansi Flick asks him to do there, and everybody knows the crazy high line that Barcelona plays, and probably has stopped them from winning the Champions League. But his ability on the ball, his ability to command the back line, Laporta is a perfect partner for him. You look at that run that Barcelona made to the semifinal. He had a similar, kind of a veteran, unsung hero in Inigo Martinez. So they complement each other very, very well. You have two players that are extremely comfortable on the ball, but he's been playing just like Lamine since he was 16 for Barcelona. And once he made his first start, they have not pulled him off the field. And so I think that it's really impressive. I think it goes to show the strength of the Spanish setup, where these guys, no matter what club they go to, they come back and they all have the same idea of how the game should be played. So he's incredible. He looks like a kid, but he plays fearless. There's an edit of him literally not giving Mbappe any sort of breathing room. He was
right. I know.
And he's fearless back there. And he is, if he can stay healthy, he could be one of the best center backs of all time because of what he's doing at this age, right? Center back is one of those positions where people peak in their mid-20s, because of the intelligence demands, the positioning, and so
he has obviously it doesn't look anything like him, but he just has I see Carlos Pujols all over again. Right?
Yes.
That's what I see.
He's a fighter. That foul against Belgium, where he pulled the guy down by his shorts. That was one of the smartest fouls in that game because they were on the break. I mean, and they were about to score, but I think he's wise beyond his years, and I've been very.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything to shock me, but I'm glad that he's getting his flowers.
Yeah, you mentioned Laporte. He's 32, and yet he's giving him direction. They're 13 years. There's a 13-year difference there, and he every bit belongs, man. As a 19-year-old, pretty amazing to me. And then you talk about Cucurella out wide, what he's done, what he allows them to do. He's been. I told Wes on the watch along 4 years ago. I thought he was overrated. Now he's just, I don't know, he's really come of age. So
do you think it has to deal with him wearing a white shirt next year? Or?
No, man. I think in this tournament he's really, if you remember, if you checked our thread earlier, this was way earlier, right, when the US was looking like some potential world beaters. I talked about how no two left backs have been carving up more players than probably I had mentioned at the time, Jedi Robinson and Cucurella, right?
Yeah.
And then of course we know how that went. But he's just been every game. We thought, right? We talked about it. Wes and I talked about it in the watch along. We thought he was going to sit in a little bit deeper, maybe go up to about midfield. He was all the way up there, man, and France didn't know how to control it. So it was just what he was doing was pretty exceptional as well. So
what's been impressive about those two center backs is they have been able to do, depending on the game, they do each other's job. So like against Portugal, Ronaldo was told to sit on Laporta and make Kubarsi beat them with the ball, and then he did it. Mm-hmm. And then if you watch the game against France, Mbappe was the one matched up on Kubarsi the whole time, and Laporta was able to beat them with the ball. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's just been really impressive how just in sync they are. Unai Simon connected to that back line.
He had some massive plays in that France semifinal because how high he was having to play. Remember, Wes, we talked about it, right? Mm-hmm. He was way out there. And if he doesn't get to that ball, even then, he doesn't get to that ball, could have been a very different game. Yeah.
And Pedro Porro as well has been outstanding. So
yeah, he got the.
But I think that tells you about Spain that there's so many guys that have had such a great World Cup for them.
Right. Yeah, and you know what? To be honest, if you look at all the World Cups, I mean, in 2018, they lost to Russia on PKs after putting together 1,000 passes.
Right.
I think that was literally they put together 1,000 passes.
It was. Yeah.
In 2022, they dominated, I believe, Morocco to lose on pens. They have been playing, even though they haven't gotten the results, bar 2014, this is a Spanish system that is just rolling. And you see it at the under-19 level. You see it on the women's side. They've done, the strength of their team is their soccer culture, because every single player, you watch the under-17 women and they play the same way as the senior men. So
yeah. Well, the difference I think from this going back to 2010, because I know Elias, you and I know Spain extremely well, but going back to 2010, the difference in this model and Luis de la Fuente's model is this is not. People want to call it that because it's Spain, but this is not tiki-taka, man. This is a masterclass of what they did versus France. Of we are going to just actively defend you with the ball, right? And I mean, and they just carved them up, man. Just carved them up, and then they pick their moments, and then just how much they get out of their backs. We talked about Porro getting the backbreaker, the second goal, just amazing stuff, man. So, Wes.
Yeah, I think this game is one of those. We're going to see a team that gives way to what they've been really good at, right? So you have a Spain team who's been really good at keeping a lead and playing with the ball. And then you've got an Argentina team who just loves to be those cardiac cats, right, and come from behind over and over and over again and show you just what they can do when their backs are up against the wall. So we have a team that if they do get the lead in Spain, they don't really give it up. They're not going to give Argentina those spots to be able to find their way back in. I think it'll be a lot tougher on Argentina to do that. So I think the longer that this game can stay 0-0, I think it plays in the favor of Argentina. But if Spain can get on the ball and get a goal, man, it's going to be very hard for Argentina to continue to do what they've been doing. So I think something has to give this game, watching the two of them play. Man, I'll just be honest. Spain just looks so much better, and we talked about that. I think when we were doing the watch along, we were talking how the France.
Well, they're favorites, right? What's the line on that one? I know it's
The
been
line,
fluctuating.
yeah.
I was looking at Pauly and Kelchi, so.
Yeah,
at 58-42.
Yeah, right now it's 59-42 is what I'm seeing. So Argentina 42% to win. Yeah, I don't know. I know we're in for a great game. I know that because we've got two teams that are playing really well.
I think for this to happen, so Argentina, when Argentina looks at Spain on film, right, their coaching staff, so Scaloni and his staff, they have a much more difficult blueprint to go off of in terms of what Spain has put on film, right? So, because the only common opponent they both have is are the world beaters, Cape Verde, right? That's the only common opponent they have, and they both struggled, but Argentina looked old and made it harder, whereas Spain, just kind of out of the gate, just was trying to figure things out. And as we all knew at the time, we found out later, Cape Verde was for real, right? But outside of that, I feel that Argentina, in terms of game plan, as far as how to prepare for Spain, they have a much harder blueprint to go off of, right? And they know they're going to want the ball, obviously, and they're exceptional at passing and building out of the back. They know all that. Whereas I feel Spain, the blueprint for how Argentina can beat, the only way Argentina can beat Spain, we just saw it versus England. They're going to have to make it. They're going to have to make it ugly. They're going to have to, because the one thing that stood out to me in that Argentina-England game was Argentina did, we know they're a scrappy group. We know they're tough, right? We know they have heart. They're fighters. But they did, that first half was everything about getting under England's skin, right? So Spain is going to have their players, right? They're going to have that composure and expect I call it the Argentina circus, right? Because that's what they're going to do. They're going to contest every call. They're going to crowd the official, right? And it just stalls you. It prevents any sort of fluidity in the game, which I think that's what Spain's going to want, right? And then there's the other piece of both teams kind of in moments in that midfield fighting for the ball, right? The difference is if Spain does score, right, they're not going to drop back like England, right? They're going to keep coming back. So the difference will be in terms of the two coaching staffs, how they prepare, how they game plan, how they put together a game plan for the respective teams. So thoughts on that, guys?
I think, I do think, honestly, out of all the European teams, I think Spain is best equipped to deal with the theatrics from Argentina. Because I think Spain in the past has also been accused of that. I mean, we remember the Sergio Busquets, where he pokes the eye out while he's rolling on the ground, right, trying to get a red card. So I think that there's that Spanish culture also has a little bit of that. These are two teams that want to win. The midfield battle is going to be really interesting. Does Argentina stick with the wide players like they did against England, where you have a Simeone or maybe a Nico Gonzalez, or do they go back to what they were doing earlier, where they try to pack the midfield and try to maybe match Spain in that regard? The big issue for me is, unlike these other teams, Spain is going to be able to take advantage of Messi not defending high up the field. They're going to have a free player at all times because Messi's not going to go out and press Laporta or press Kubarsi consistently. So they're going to give possession away in the first line. Now Argentina's pinned back. And if they do crowd the midfield, how do they break without true wingers? And if they do go with wingers, how do they deal with being overloaded in the midfield? I don't know that I bet against this Argentina team just because they've shown that you'd literally probably have to kill these guys to beat them at this point. But it does seem like every solution that Argentina may present for Spain has an answer for that and will hurt them in a different way. And I think that that's what's made them so impressive. So it's going to be a very interesting. The initial setup from Scaloni is going to be very interesting. It's going to dictate kind of how this game goes, but I just don't see the Ball theatrics having as big of an effect on Spain as it did maybe on some of these other countries, just
Right.
because the
Well,
Spanish.
they have to be ready for it, I think, is the
Yeah.
big thing, right?
But
Yeah.
I mean, think about like players like Gavi. Gavi's all up in your face all the time, right? Cucurella, same thing. He's rolling around on the ground.
This is why I see DePaul. I could see DePaul getting the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think that the Spanish also do a little bit of, not to the nearly as the extent as
No.
the Argentines do,
Yeah.
but they have that in them as well. And I think that's what makes them successful. Is you have to have the ability to play well. You have to have the ability to throw an opponent off their game. And you saw, even from Spain, a little bit of the shithousery where they're, playing keep up over the France players in the middle of the field. I mean that you can't tell me that that's not a big middle finger to France right there.
Right.
So
Right.
I think that it's going to be a very, very interesting battle. Tactically, Spain has all the answers. Mentally, I think Argentina may have a slight edge. So
Yeah. So we'll take a look at this real quick. So we're going to bring up the Argentina profile. We'll look at profile of both. So how did both teams get here? Briefly looking at their pathways on how they arrived to the World Cup final in in group play. Talked about Argentina defeating. They had a relatively easy, uncontested group play. The fireworks started for them when they got into group play, but defeating Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. And then we talked about the all-timer classic. I mean, probably what I know a lot of people back to back. These were brutal, right? Cape Verde and Egypt, right? Seeing these how they played out, and then defeating Switzerland in the quarterfinal, and then of course England match, which we just kind of dissected heavily. When you look back on their path, the profile here for Argentina, any thoughts going back to these results that kind of you forgot about, or something that grabs your attention now, guys?
Yeah, I think going into the Spain game, it's pretty interesting to see that they have not been shut out and have at least scored at least 2 goals in every game.
Right.
And so that's something like Spain doesn't give up goals. So, again, another thing that we're going to have to take a look at, and something's going to have to give, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, Brian, any thoughts on this?
I think like I said, if there's one team that can handle the dark arts of Argentina, it's the dark arts of Barcelona. And what they throw out there. So this will be very similar in stature. I mean, all those players, those Barcelona. It's not Argentinian dark arts and it's not Spanish dark arts. It's Barcelona dark arts that have spread all over the world, like cultural diffusion here.
Hey, he's saying that. I'm not. He's saying
Yeah,
that.
I'm saying that. And because we all know that it's UEFA Lona versus the world there. But no, I think when you look at a team like Argentina, their defense has given up a lot of goals, and Spain has not given up a lot of goals. So Argentina can't afford to get this into a game where it's going to be a shootout. Their defense is going to have to tighten up, and their defense is going to have to be prepared to stop the Spanish attack. And if they can't do that, if Spain can get an early goal, they're gonna make Argentina press. And I think Spain's counterattack. You won't see Spain sit in. You won't see Spain drop a defender in. You're going to see them add midfielders like they have in this World Cup. And I think they're going to be there to catch Argentina again. I would not be surprised to see Spain get up 2-0 in this match and then just kind of sit on it like they did against France and let the shithousery begin at that point.
are you muted, Hector?
There we go. Sorry, guys. Keep double tapping that mute button. So, so the Spain profile, how they arrived here to the World Cup final, a little bit tougher coming out of the group play, and then their pathway up to in the group stage, or what we perceived was going to be a much easier one for Argentina, right? But took care of Uruguay 1-0, Saudi Arabia, and then we talked about the shocker to start group play versus Cape Verde, and then round of 32 took care of Austria, and then a tough, what was probably really the one real boring match I saw them play versus Portugal. took care of Belgium and got the revenge for the U.S. in the 2-1 quarterfinal match. And then we saw just the thorough just demolition of France in a game that didn't feel like it was even that close, right? 2-0 or 2-0, I should say. Thoughts on this from the Spain perspective when you look back on their body of work? Wes, we'll start with you.
I think going into this tournament, I was high on Spain. I thought Spain was going to run away with this thing. It was going to be their tournament to win. And then that Cape Verde game happened. And I think because of everybody's perception of Cape Verde going into the tournament, now we know they're actually not a bad team and pretty for real. So that game's not as crazy as we thought. But Spain has just consistently grown and gotten better in every game they've played. Even in the game with Belgium where that one spot where they've given up the goal, they still immediately reacted well with that and got the game winner to move on. But this has been a team that has been playing some of their best football over the last 2 years and are continuing to look like it. And it's very hard, and you never, like I said, we're never going to count Argentina out just because of the way they've looked as well. But it's so hard to see this Spain team get beat on Sunday.
The curious part, I feel like, Spain has not trailed. Argentina has trailed multiple times, so they're not going to get rattled. But how will Spain and Argentina react if somehow Argentina gets the first one? Right, that's what I'm kind of curious about. A little curious. So, Rafa, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Spain had the kind of like the tougher route. I think they're the more battle tested, but I think going into the final, as far as experience, you got to give the nod to Argentina. Been there, done that, and this is something maybe new for a lot of the Spanish players going in, and especially the manager. The big thing for them is they got to start out quick, early, get a lead, because I think if they fall behind against Argentina, I don't think they have kind of like the firepower what Argentina has to kind of make a comeback. So they have to set the tone early on. They're gonna have the ball position and so forth, and then get some good looks. I think this is a game. Lamine Yamal has to shine. I mean, this is what he's been, I guess, working for since he can't make Champions League final. Well, here's the World Cup final. So, can you handle the pressure? Can you step it up to a big game like this and deliver? So, I think, like I said, there's a lot of pressure on them. For some of their players that they can get it done. But I think if they get an early goal, I think for what they did to France, I think they can do the same thing to Argentina.
Yeah. Could you imagine how different preparation for this match, this final could have been if they would have played prior to the World Cup, if they would have actually played the Finalissima and not had it canceled, right? That would have kind of been interesting, right? So I'm kind of curious how they would have handled that. But so here's the question, Elias, I have for you. So given Messi's history and stature in Spain, all right, yes, they're pros. Yes, they're battle tested. Yes, they're European champions. But with eight players on this 26-man roster coming out of Barca, and then just Messi being the name that he is, particularly in Spain, what are the odds that some of these guys kind of get in their heads about the fact that we would have much preferred England, whereas we have to now deal with Messi and Argentina?
I mean, I think, I think that they're going to have a lot of respect for him. A lot of these players have seen him up close and personal. So, even Cucurella came through La Masia, and so you're really talking about 9 players probably that have looked up and idolized, Messi since they were little kids. I mean, we've all seen the picture of Lamine and Messi. I mean, literally as a baby. So.
Yeah, that still creeps me out, man.
Such a weird,
yeah,
so weird.
So apparently, it was not just Messi. There was 25 families selected, and then they
had like a lottery, right?
Paired with one of the Barcelona players, and so it wasn't even that he just won the lottery to be with Messi. It was that he won this. They won this contest, and then they were randomly paired with Messi as their player. So
Yeah.
It was a
weird.
UNICEF commercial, right?
That was a UNICEF thing about like,
Yeah.
You'd never see Chelsea do anything like that. I'm just letting
because
you
they're
know.
scumbags and they don't care about kids. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
but
I was like, we can't just put the guy on the pitch and take a picture with your arm around his shoulder or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, we don't. I don't know. You know.
Why are we bathing the baby?
yeah. But I don't know that really that's really going to affect them a whole lot. I think it may actually give them a little bit more, confidence. Like we all came from the same place this guy did.
Mhm.
We know how they're going to play.
You're Luis de la Fuente. How are you packaging that? How are you selling that to your roster?
I mean, I don't even know that. And a lot of them have already
It's a factor, man. I pros or not. You cannot tell me, given that history and because who it is.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be somewhere in there, lingering in their brains.
I mean, I think it's kind of the same. He puts his shoes on 1 foot at a time, like all of us do. Pulls his pants up one leg at a time.
I
So
don't know about that dude. That dude's different.
he is, but I think that's how you have to talk. And I think De La Fuente's message is going to be similar to how they talked about Mbappe. He is amazing, and when he has the ball, he is incredible. So don't give him the ball. Don't let him have the ball. And I do think that that's going to be the message is if you want to beat Messi, don't give him. I mean, how many touches did Messi have in that second half against England? I mean, so I think that's going to be the conversation of
The
we
second half of the second half. Yeah, that's just.
yeah,
And that's what I mean. There's so much that Spain can take from what Argentina put on film, particularly against England, right? So,
And then, we talked about the dark arts. I mean, that last game against Uruguay in the group stage, that was some South American, dark arts.
Yeah.
They almost knocked Nico Williams out of the whole tournament. Jeremy Pino, they almost broke his collarbone. I mean, these guys are going to go into this and they're going to be they've already seen stuff like this. But to me, this whole body of work is just methodical. The Spain team, they bore you to death, but they also just you never really feel like you have a chance against them. Even when Belgium scored, I don't think anyone was really, besides the Belgian fans, was really like, oh man, Spain might lose this. I mean, I always thought that they were going to go score. I mean, against Austria never looked like they were ever going to get out of their own box. It's just very. They are so tactically complete that
Oh yeah.
they suffocate you. And so and you look at Spanish teams in general, they've won 27 out of the last 28 finals they've played in,
Yeah.
across all European competitions, including international competitions. And that one loss is Real Betis against whatever Premier League team they lost to this year. So
Yeah. And you can truly make this argument, right? Kind of like what we discussed in Spain, the lead up to Spain versus France was this is still the complete system versus the individual in Messi, right? The difference is Argentina, right? They're fighters, they're scrappers, right? They're going to come out with their circus at times, but they're in it. They are the definition of until the final whistle, right? So I give them that. But in the end, the difference is going to be, will it be, right, the individual or Argentina, right? That's what is going to, I think, in some way, shape, or form, at some point, Spain is going to have to answer that question, either early or late, but they'll have to answer that question. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty interesting to see. And I don't think Spain, I think for some of us who are casuals that are watching or that have been watching, right, is understanding there's a difference to the method, to the madness of Spain. Because I would agree, they can be boring at times. Like in that Portugal match, I thought that was utterly boring. Versus France, it was not boring whatsoever, right? Because you could see how they were setting the tone, dictating the play. Not to say that they didn't do that against Portugal, but I think it was because of also it's dependent upon their opponent and how they're going to play against them also. Right. So.
Yeah, and I thought, I think Portugal, with Vitinha and Bruno Fernandes and João Neves, they were able to match the technical ability a little bit of Spain, and so they had to attack in different ways. They weren't as able,
Right.
They still controlled the match extremely well, But I mean, that Portugal midfield is probably the only midfield on the planet that can come close to what
Right.
Spain has in midfield.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I
um,
would agree.
I mean, I
I
think
think also you look at it. I think you look at it. Argentina's had to play 2 extra time matches that have worn them down. Include in that England game. How much energy did they expend in that game? Do they have the legs to go one more time? And we really look at it. Spain really hasn't, and I don't want to say that they haven't been physically as taxed as Argentina has been. They haven't expended as much energy in matches as Argentina has. Does that play into effect in that second half? Does Messi have the legs to go another 90, maybe 120 minutes against a team like Spain that's going to make him work? And make those Argentinian players work the way they have.
Oh, he will. He will. That's what you're going to see in him. I think it's just going to be a matter of. I don't think it's the legs. I think it's the frustration level for Messi if Spain is their defense is effective, right? I think that part. And then at some point, it's going to come down to the tactical adjustments from the two managers, right? Scaloni, yes, he's the defending, he's the defending world champion coach, but Elias alluded to it earlier. I mean, De La Fuente, he has his pulse on this team because of how he's developed them coming through their system, right? U19, U21, everything, and then he finds himself as the senior coach, right? So he knows his pieces extremely well. So
interesting tidbit. De La Fuente was Scaloni's mentor on Scaloni's UEFA Pro.
Yeah, I saw that.
So they know each other very well. Yeah, I mean, this to me this is a great matchup. It's got a lot of intrigue to it. There's a lot of little moving parts in between that. Lamine Yamal versus Tagliafico on the right hand side. I mean, he almost got the third goal against France, right? I mean, he was maybe leaning offside. I mean, but then he did a lot to score that goal. So it wasn't like he was leaning offside and then just ran by him. I mean, he cut back in, beat a player, scored the goal. So, I mean, it's the kid versus the king, and who's going to win.
Yeah. And then
you got Cucurella and Messi, and I think that's going to be a matchup to watch because if there's a player that can frustrate Messi, it'll be Cucurella because I've watched him do it for years with Chelsea, and I think if you watch the Champions League matchup last year between Chelsea and Barcelona, he had Lamal frustrated, from the opening whistle, and if there's anyone that can really frustrate Messi, it'll be Cucurella.
That's what I mean, dude. Cucurella's evolved so much, man. I was like, it's been amazing to see from last World Cup to this one. Now, here's the other thing, though, too, is we start to look. We're going to transition here. We'll bring up there we go. So we bring up now. So the curse of the cup. Something side notes, little stuff, right? So how much will this be a factor or not, right? So the foreign manager curse, which was Thomas Tuchel for England, and he is no longer obviously in the mix. The Ballon d'Or curse with Dembele, but Argentina does come in as the number one ranked team, and no number one ranked team coming in since the ranking started in 90 or 94 has ever won the World Cup. So something in here is going to eventually give. Will it be on Sunday? So little tidbit, just something else I wanted to share. But final thoughts, guys, on this as we start to wrap up here. We'll start with Rafa. So kind of key factor, one or two key factors, key battles, key matchups that you're going to look at, that you're going to be looking at in this match, you think that are going to ultimately make the difference?
The back four from Spain versus the attack from Argentina. Who's going to win that? Yeah. Spain's been a rock wall. These last few games have been, like I said, they've only allowed that one goal. In the knockout stage. So we'll see. Does it cave in on this game? Because like I said, there's sometimes Spain hasn't really. Like I said, I guess the Cape Verde game may be kind of the bad game. Is this their bad game here, or are they just really focused on they can keep it up, or is Argentina go overwhelm them? So I think that's the matchup I'm looking for. Can Spain's defense withstand Argentina's attack, and then kind of turn it around on them.
Yeah. Wes?
I think that midfield battle's interesting. I mean, the group of that Spain has is fantastic, but Alex McAllister has done a great job. Enzo Fernandez sliding inside has done great. So that battle in the midfield, man, who wins it? Can Spain keep the ball like they have been? And I think that's going to tell us a lot about the game. Like I said, the longer this game goes 0-0, I think it favors Argentina. But if Spain can get out and get a goal early, it suits them well to see it out.
I don't think that Argentina midfield can keep up with this Spain midfield.
I don't either.
They have to
No, I
make
don't
it ugly. They have to make it cagey. They have to come up with as again, I call it the Argentina circus, and just break up the fluidity, right? Break up the stretches, even if it's still Spain's ball after a foul, right? But just breaking it up. That's the only way I can see them surviving that inevitably. So.
I think it's been interesting too. When I look at all of the betting, the player props that they give, it's been interesting to see who they kind of favor, who's going to score in a lot of these games, because they won't give you great odds on it. So Messi right now is 2.78 times to score one goal, which that's not great. $10 bet, you kind of double your money. But Enzo Fernandez, who has scored in the last two games, right? Last two games and has looked brilliant. If he scores a goal, you win 8.33 times your money back.
Okay.
Which is interesting that they're giving him that, like, you get really good odds on that. Alex McAllister, 11.11 times your money back.
Dude hit the post twice last game.
I know. And so the betting odds right now on those guys to score is not very good at all. So it's very interesting to see the way that the odds makers are seeing this game play out.
Interesting. Right?
I think the battle's going to be between the coaches and who's going to win the setup and who's going to make the right adjustments and who's going to make the right substitutions in this matchup. I mean, you have two very even teams. You have very good. You have great offenses, great defenses. I think this one's really going to come down to which coach gets it right versus which coach gets it wrong, or in another case, which coach gets it right better than the other coach.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be what you're going to look for.
Yeah, I think from that perspective, I think both coaches are going to get a lot right. I think it's just it could very well be who gets the last right adjustment in the game, in the match, right? If it's a tight one, or if we're looking at extra time, or God forbid, we're looking at penalties somehow. So, Elias?
Yeah, I think it's gonna. We haven't talked about the man that scored in 6 consecutive finals, Mikel Oyarzabal. I mean, he gets in finals and he scores goals for club and country. We talk about this midfield, his ability to drop in and pull, Lisandro Martinez and Christian Romero into midfield and create an overload. Alex Baena does his ability to pop into midfield. So it's not just about the 3 midfielders versus the 3 midfielders. It's about which player is going to pop in and who's going to account for them. Also, the goalkeeper for Argentina. I think that he's created a lot of goodwill, because for his penalty saves, but in open play, he's been a little suspect. He's going to have to come up with some big saves to keep Argentina in this game, because they're going to be under the most pressure that they've been in this tournament. So, and then the fullbacks, Molina and Montiel. I saw a comparison. They flipped the two, kind of like when you have that remote and there's the batteries in it that are dead, and the batteries suck, but for some reason flipping them over seems to do the job.
Got more juice.
It gives them a little juice. So that's going to be an interesting battle out there. But I agree. I mean, I think both of these coaches, they know their teams, they know their opponents. They have these teams in there for a reason.
Right.
They're not there because, and yes, they have incredible players, but France had the best squad and didn't make it. They're there because they have the best teams. I think that comes down to the coach setting them up that way. So I agree with you. It's going to be it's like the old whiteboard battle, right? Whoever has the marker last wins. And I think it's going to be very similar to in this game.
Yeah. Some of the things, so there's really 2 questions that I have, or thoughts going into this really, and it's more so from Spain's perspective, right? Because Argentina's been answering the adversity bell throughout, and they've played from behind. They kind of thrive in the chaos, right? So, and that's where I feel that was my question, and really kind of coming in with Argentina was, were they going to help Messi, right? Beyond just Messi, always relying on him. So, which they have, and they've had to in the knockout rounds. My question, at some point in this match, Spain inevitably is going to probably see some sort of adversity that they haven't encountered in this World Cup, right? Do they have, I really want to see, we talked about it a little bit, Elias, you mentioned it, but now in the moment, do they have that dog in them that will come out, right, and respond, right, and push back against Argentina? Because one of the questions really with European squads has been kind of in the matchups piece has been the kryptonite in times have been the South American teams and how they play, right? Or we talk about the shithousery as well on top of that. So how do they respond to that mentally, and then dig deep as far as have that dog in them come out? Is it there, right? Will it be there in the moment? Will they answer the bell? And then the other thing too is the capability of the counterattack for Spain. Because I feel that like if you can do it, and if you can do it quickly, right? I think that's where Argentina is. Go back to Cape Verde, go back to Egypt, right? Then the reality of it is that they were on the verge. Argentina was on the verge of finding themselves down 3-0 versus Egypt, all on counters, right? You spread them out; they're very vulnerable, very susceptible in the back, and then, as you mentioned, Elias, suspect in goal in Emi Martinez, right? So, those two things, I think, are what I will be looking for the most. I think more so from Spain's perspective, right? So, and I'll just be kind of curious to see how they respond, and then if it's late or if it goes to penalties, then we all know it's at that point it's a crapshoot. So, but yeah, insult to injury also was Pickford leaving his water bottle with the dives for for Argentina. So I'm kind of curious if. With that floating around on social media, I'm kind of curious if the coaching staff for Spain will look at that, right?
Have y'all seen the translation? They're talking to Senesi, and it reminded me of that Madagascar clip where the penguins were like, "Who can read?" But they're like, "Senesi, you speak English? Tell us what it says." And then that's where all that whole conversation was. So it was pretty funny watching that.
Yeah, that was funny. But but I come back to this. In the end, so there's an old saying, right, where growing up where I'm from and everything, and then just in excuse me, in Mexico, there's a saying that revolves around finals, right? It's los finales no se juegan, se ganan, right? So you don't play in finals, you win them, right? So you do everything you can to win. So, and I know we're going to get that from Argentina, right? So to what extent or how much will Spain, in terms of their potential and what they're capable of, will they answer that bell as well? That's, for me, in the end, that's what I think it's going to come down to. Because if they do, given their system and their tactics and their quality and their coaching staff, there's nothing else stopping them, I don't think. Really quick shout out to our sponsor again, GoalGetter. If your family is navigating the girls' soccer recruiting process, GoalGetter provides the education, tools, and guidance families need to better understand the recruiting landscape and make much better informed decisions. To get information, you can find them on social media on Instagram and X at GoalGetter Soccer. That's GOLGETR Soccer. Again, that's at GoalGetter Soccer, or on their website at GoalGetter. That's GOLGETR at GoalGetter.com. So, all right, guys, final thoughts, official scoreline predictions. What are your thoughts? Brian, we'll start with you, buddy.
I'm going to go Spain 2-1. I think they're the best team in the tournament. I think they're going to get out there. I think they're going to get one early, and then I think that's just that second half is just going to be I think their defense. I think Spain's defense is going to be able to withhold the Argentinian attack much better than everyone else has so far.
Yeah. Wes?
Yeah, I got Spain 2-1 in extra time. I'll give you that.
Nice. Good deal. Rafa, can you hear us? I know he's having some technical issues coming in and out. So we'll come back to him. Elias?
I can hear you. My
there you
signal's
go. There
been
you go.
kind of off and on.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead. Scoreline prediction. What do you got?
I'll give mine a Spain 2, Argentina 1.
Okay. Good deal. And Elias.
I think this is going to be very similar to the 2010 World Cup final between Spain and the Netherlands. I think, you have two teams that play similar, but I think it's going to end up being 1-0. I could see it going to extra time. I do believe in Spain's ability to win finals. I mean, you look at history; when they get to finals, they win them, in club and country. But I don't know that you can count out the little man. I mean, I just really don't. I mean, but I just think the collective of Spain is too. This is too big of a test. It's too big of a jump for Argentina. I think the fighting spirit can close the gap. I think they did it against England. I do think the gap is too large between Argentina and Spain for this one. So give me Spain 1-0 and Viva España. Let's go.
Well, I don't know if it was Brian or Wes that mentioned it too, but just how much does Argentina still have in the tank? Not just physically, but emotionally, man. It's just been one after another, after another, after another. So that will be interesting, right? So because I talked about it in the moments of the legs and them just kind of getting old, right? Versus the lack of experience to a certain extent in terms of playing in a World Cup final for Spain, right? Even though we know that they're the reigning European champions. So again, that's what it kind of comes down to. We talked about the saying, right? Los finales se ganan, no se juegan. So what will it come down to? So, but that is going to do it. Again, make sure you like, rate, subscribe. You can find us both on X and Instagram at Red, White, and Crew Pod, as well as on YouTube at. You can find us under the 50_50 podcast, since we are a member of the 50/50 Podcast Network. This is episode 20 of the Red, White, and Crew podcast. For those of you that have been joining us, whether it was from episode 1 or you just jumped on now, thank you to all of our listeners, all of our supporters. Make sure you can jump on, particularly if you're watching us on YouTube, like, rate, subscribe, hit subscribe, and like this video to keep us in the algorithm. And as far as the audio podcast, whatever your preferred podcast platform is, you can find us on there under the 50/50 podcast, and go on there, give us a rating as well, and send all your complaints. Complaint department HR person is Mercenary FC himself here, which is why he's never on here. So I got to give him grief about that. But
Hey,
final thoughts.
just one last thing, and this kind of just came over. I had a buddy of mine just text me. The U.S. and Mexico were finalizing details on a friendly a match in September. No such thing as a friendly. And no such thing as a friendly. But they're working on setting something up because they've got that 4-match. They've got that extended window in September. Yeah. The U.S. is going to play 4 matches at home. One of them will be against Mexico, and from what I've heard, it will either be Dallas or maybe Nashville. Depending on where
it'll be in the U.S. though.
Yeah, the U.S. has already said all 4 of their matches will be in the U.S.
Interesting.
So
I know they were trying to line up. I saw something in September. They were trying to line up England in Wembley. Mexico was. I don't know if that's Rafa. Is that confirmed? I don't even know if you can hear me.
From what I've heard, Nations League and World Cup Nations League is already going on in September in that window for the European teams. So like the United States, Mexico, everybody is open in both North America and South America. So anybody, you can pull any friendly you can out, or any match you can out of that one.
Yeah, good deal.
That's what I've been told.
Good deal. Good. Final thoughts from Brian. Appreciate you, brother. Good. So, but they haven't listed a date. They just said the September.
No dates yet, but they're working on the details. If it is in Dallas, we could have a 50/50. We could have a Red, White, and Crew pod from the parking lot right next to the table where the broadcast crew is. So we're gonna need Hector to get the deals.
We need some internet to make that happen. That's the only thing I need, man. We can make it. We can make that happen.
I mean, we could literally have our table set up right next to the TNT or TBS.
Or we could come live from the cigar shop too, right, Wes?
We could always come live from the cigar shop.
So, final thoughts, Wes.
Nah, this has been a great World Cup, man. Like we've talked about over and over, like the best ever. So looking forward to the next 2 days, and then we will have our pity party next week of not having any games to watch for an extended period of time. Although if you want to just watch the MLS, you can watch that too.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get on board with MLS. I don't know.
I'll tell you what,
I have my
Griezmann looked
moments.
great the other night. Watching him play in
How
person.
much did he play, by the way? I'm kind of curious. How many minutes
He
did
played almost the whole game, didn't he, Elias? He didn't come
Oh,
out till like the 80th minute or something.
60, 70 minutes.
67? Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was more than that. Yeah.
So he got to start. Sweet.
Oh, he started and got the first goal.
Hey, why were they playing there, by the way? Was that because of the stadium?
Yeah, our
construction?
the stadium's under construction right now, so they shut it down.
Yeah.
This whole season up until now, we've been having everyone on the west side and in the south part of the stadium. That's where everybody sits. The whole east side was being renovated. We are now moving everyone over to the east side. They also
Yeah,
saw
I thought-
pictures the other day. They're taking the stage away, and so that's going to be seats now. So
Which
There'll be more empty seats at FC Dallas.
I don't know about that, my man. It's been pretty full. You got to think we win more than Houston does. So
Hey, speaking of MLS, isn't El Tráfico tonight? Isn't that tonight?
there is a game. There's a couple games tonight.
There's two tonight. I think El Tráfico is one of them. So, Elias, final thoughts, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a fantastic World Cup. I've gotten to watch 4 games in person. Got to watch my second favorite team twice in person with Spain, and I'm excited for the final. I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great way to cap off a fantastic World Cup. Lots and lots of interest in it. I think it's really grown the sport in this country, and hopefully we can continue to build on the momentum. Like Heyman said, if Mexico's playing here, I would love to see what would traditionally be a home game for Mexico, what that looks like for the U.S. after this World Cup. And that would be a very good barometer of how much this game has really grown because of this World Cup being here.
With it being a friendly, being controlled by the Federation, the tickets are not going to be out of control like they would be for a World Cup or a Copa America or CONCACAF game. The Federation controls tickets. They're gonna do a job to make sure they can fill that thing up with American fans. So be prepared.
If it's in September, I don't know. I probably see that being played in Nashville, to be honest. But
yeah,
it would be cool.
But you got to look at NFL availabilities and
that's what I mean too.
and everything
That's
there.
kind of why I was leaning towards more Nashville than Dallas. But I don't know. But we'll see. So
they can play it at Baytown Sterling High School. I'll be more than happy to welcome both teams out to the field
good deal.
for the right price.
That is going to do it for episode 20 of the Red, White, and Crew podcast. My final thoughts, boys, thank you for being on here. The crew, I appreciate you guys. Rafa, I know having a lot of technical issues, bouncing in and out, but this has been great. This has been a journey. Have loved it, every bit of it. I think if you're just joining us, if you've just started to follow us, again, post-World Cup, I've had a lot of messages, right? So whether it was DMs, text messages, emails, I've gotten it all in terms of the work that we've been doing. I know it hasn't been a huge following, but it's been a pretty faithful following in terms of getting this new podcast off the ground as we continue to grow, as it is a member of the 50/50 Podcast Network. So we're growing that network, right? But this podcast, post-World Cup, is not going anywhere. It will continue to cover, we'll bounce in, whether it's the quote-unquote, I'll call them non-district matches, right? Or district, a non-district match versus Mexico, not a friendly. But yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff. We'll make sure you follow us again. Follow us on X and Instagram at Red, White, and Crew Pod. As we're not going anywhere, this will continue past the World Cup and just following both the U.S. men's and women's national teams and bringing you more coverage. And then as we ultimately prepare for, you kind of got to follow what's next in line coming up for the men's side over the next couple of years. And then, of course, preparation for the Women's World Cup in Brazil next summer as well.
And the U.S. announced 2 matches with Spain in D.C. and Philadelphia coming up.
What was the date? What were the dates on those, Elias?
I believe late September, early October. I'm not for sure on that.
They're like 4 days apart. I think it's like the 10th and 13th. Or September or October.
And then Pochettino has said he will make his decision on his future next week. So
yeah. He's going to wait to see if Scaloni steps down, man. That's what he's waiting on.
I thought about that as well.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a bad fit there, but
no. Yeah, I legitimately wonder if that's what he's kind of waiting on. So, but good deal. But hey, that is going to do it for, again, episode 20 of the Red, White, and Crew podcast. So for Elias Ramos, Mercenary FC himself, Brian Heyman, and Coach Aaron Wesner. I am your host, Coach Hector Cano. Thank you again for riding with us, listening to us, and don't go anywhere as we will bring you back on Monday. We will bring you our World Cup final recap as we'll talk about everything that went down between what should be an absolute classic in Argentina and Spain. So until the next time, you know what to do. Keep downloading.